Hello and welcome to the world's premier podcast on dragon lore, The Dragon Report. It's funny, right? It's pretty funny. Because we just played a game about dragons 2 weeks ago, and now we're playing another one.
Yeah, this is almost like the whole vampire thing, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think dragons are like the new vampires for the Pixel Report in 2019. Yeah, it's the Pixel Report. It's a show about old video games. Each week we play an old video game and then talk about it here on the Pixel Report. And I'm your host, John Schoeneman, coming to you live from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee Digital Humanities area.
Digital Humanities Lab.
Digital Humanities Lab.
Digital Humanity Podcast Production Booth V2.
That's right, version 2.
Oh, baby.
And I am joined today by Aiden Keys.
Hello.
Hello,
I'm
Aiden.
here. I like dragons. I think they're cool. I think that Western-style dragons are cool, and I think that Asian-style dragons are cool, too.
Asian-style dragons are cool, too.
Dragons.
Eric Kirsting is here. Eric, hello.
A 16-bit salutations, brothers.
God.
And sister.
Alec isn't here, so Eric had to take over the reins for Alex. Stupid greetings. But we do have a cool new guest with us today, and it's Whitney Bumgart. Hello, Whitney.
Hi, I'm Alec.
Hey, Alec. I'm glad you could still be here today, even though you went to the Brewers game.
Play ball.
Yeah, totally.
My whole extended family's at the Brewers game, too. I wonder if Alec will see him. He's sitting right by him, probably.
Oh, maybe.
Last night we were driving home from Black River Falls area, so like from way western Wisconsin. And while we were coming down 94, the Brewers game had just ended. And so we drove, it was like serene, nice drive. And then we looked down and the whole parking lot is just lights. And then, but luckily it must have just gotten out because it was still bad, but it wasn't like backed up or anything.
Yeah, I heard they scored a bunch of three-pointers last night.
Oh, that's tight, dude. Giannis?
No. Yeah, Giannis.
Giannis put Giannis in.
Giannis isn't even playing basketball today.
They hit those beans out of the park yesterday.
Yep. That's tight.
Mm-hmm.
I love sports. I love sports.
Here we go.
I want the helmet full of nachos.
They got those?
Oh, gross.
Yeah, but it's so much money.
Yeah.
Do you get to keep the helmet and you have to wear it out?
You have
With
to
all
keep
the
the
cheese
cheese
in
in
it?
the
Is it like a used helmet? Like one of the players used it?
Yeah,
And then
so
you
It's
pay extra
actually-
for the salty sweat?
It's actually a used jock strap.
Oh, okay.
It's a dick
Gross.
helmet.
All right. Eric, do you have a warm-up
Yeah.
question for us today before we get down to business?
It wouldn't be the Pixel Report if I didn't.
All right, well,
So today's
Take it away.
warm-up question is this.
okay.
When everyone is a child, they have some article of clothing they wear too much.
Okay, this is pretty weird so far.
Yeah. And so I'm just asking, what was the article of clothing that you wore a lot? Like some favorite article of clothing that you just like wore every day when you were a kid?
Every day.
Like,
Jock strap.
what kind of kid we talking? Like, very small or like middle school?
Whenever you were wearing the same thing like every day, that's what I'm interested in. I feel like I'm a little loud. I'm going to turn myself down.
I'm not totally sure, but probably like a pair of zip-off wind pants or something. Like wind pants with stripes on them that zipped off into shorts.
Horizontal or vertical stripes?
Some vertical stripes. And
You were just a fan of utility, that's all.
yeah, definitely. I'm trying to remember like if I had any T-shirts that were noteworthy as a kid, but I can't really. Nothing's popping into the brain right now, so maybe come back to me on that one. I don't know.
All right.
At the end of the show, very end of the show, ask me. Okay.
All right, Whitney?
I have two
Okay.
I'd like to submit. One was a pair of jeans that I got from JCPenney in 5th grade. And they were decorated in lots of zippers. And they were flared. But at the bottom, there were more zippers. And when you zipped it opened to bright orange jersey material. And when I
Sounds
bought
pretty
them,
dope.
there was a bubble yum wrapper in the pocket.
Ooh, yummy.
Yo, used JCPenney.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
It was pre-owned JCPenney. And then the other one was I couldn't afford Hollister, but I had one Hollister sweatshirt in 7th grade, and I wore it until the sleeves fell off.
Nice.
When I was a child, I had Tommy and Reptar like full T-shirt and matching shorts outfit that I wear a lot.
Oh wow.
That was like a very small kid.
Tommy and Reptar?
Yeah.
I feel like I should know what that is, but I don't.
From Rugrats.
Oh, yeah.
I
you
know-
didn't
yeah.
have Nickelodeon.
John didn't have cable
Yeah, I didn't
television
have
growing
cable.
up, so basically he didn't have a childhood.
No, I watched Arthur
Arthur's good.
and other PBS.
That's pretty dope.
joints.
What,
I'm a
so
number
what
one
were the
Arthur
colors
fan.
on that?
It was like, I don't know, like boy colors, like blue, like light blue.
All right.
And in middle school, I had a Zero skateboarding brand sweatshirt I wear all the time. That just said Zero as a zip up.
Tight.
Nice.
Wish I had that now. That'd be pretty nice.
In middle school, my shirt was I had a Motion City soundtrack T-shirt, the band Motion City soundtrack.
Mhm.
That was my favorite T-shirt
Nice.
because I like that band. And I had a brand new T-shirt, the brand new band.
You can't say that now.
Now I can't. I had to burn that shirt.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
I was like scratching my mustache and I could hear it on the other side. That was weird.
Ooh.
Not gonna do that
I'm
again.
simultaneously scratching
Do
my
it.
nose.
So I like in like second or third grade, I had a like hockey jersey that had my birthday number on it, 23, and I would wear that all the time. So much so that my mom got me the same jersey but the like away one, like the white one with the 23. And I remember when we moved out when I was in high school, I like found them in the bag. And I was like, oh man, I remember these. And I was like, whoa, trippy. I also in like sixth grade I had like a pair of pitch black, like the black like nylon. I don't know, they're not nylon. They're some sort of like plastic material. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. What is the material those are made out of? They're just
Like windbreaker.
yeah,
pants?
like windbreakers, but
I think they
more
are like
more
nylon or something.
Yeah, like but I had one of those with the zip offs, and I had two pairs of those as well. I had one with green and one with blue, but I almost exclusively wore the green. Once got mad at my brother for taking my blue pair and wearing them.
Oh man, I think I remember those.
Yeah, I was a
right.
real lame kid.
Well, that's your Pixel Report hot
I want my
minute
pants back.
of clothing discussion.
PRHMCD.
Fashion report over. Time to talk about
We
dragons.
should do a fashion.
All right. Fashion report.
Hello, welcome to the Fashion Report.
sometimes
My name
we-
is John Schoeneman.
Sometimes we talk about the characters, the clothing. We could talk about the main character in this clothing, which is very impractical for
Yeah.
dungeon diving.
All right. So we played a game that Whitney picked, I guess. You picked the game, Whitney?
Yes, I did.
Do you want to talk about how we picked out this one?
Yeah, we went to the store,
Which store?
Our sponsors over at Mega Media Exchange.
Mega Media Exchange.
Not an actual
Shout out
sponsor.
to Mega Media Exchange. And there are about 3 games on the shelf, and I picked this one because
Yeah.
it had a dragon and a hot lady on it.
There you go. There wasn't really that much to choose from. This is a really poor ad for Mega Media Exchange, but
And it's called. You forgot to say what it was called.
Oh, do
It's-
I have to say what it's
just
called?
say what it's called. You can say what it's called.
Let's hear you
It's
say
called. The game is called Drakan, the Ancient Gates.
All right. Before we go any further, Draken or Draken?
it. Draken.
Draken.
Well, okay. There you go. I thought it was Draken.
Get out.
As if.
Drake and Josh.
I loved.
Wait, so this game has 2 price tags on it. One says $8 and one says $4. Which one was it?
I think it was 8.
Oh man.
I'm not
$4
sure.
is
It
if
might
you
have-
got
hold
the
on, let
Mega
me-
Media
can I see that
Exchange
quick?
subscriber rate.
Oh, it's definitely 8. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, there's this old one from years ago that says $4, and then the new one they moved up to $8.
At the end of the
a
show,
hot
we'll
commodity.
ask if
Yeah.
this game is worth $8 of a consumer's money.
I have a problem with the title of this game.
Okay.
Besides that, I think it's Draken.
Drake
Okay.
and Josh.
I feel like the Ancient Gates is too many
It's-
S's.
It's kind of it's a tongue twister. It
should
should
be-
just the Ancient Gates.
Yeah, the Ancient Gates.
or the
sounds
Ancient
better.
Gate.
Like a little too committed to the story there. Like just call it the Ancient Gates. Even
Yeah.
if they like.
I don't know.
But it's the gates of the ancients. So
It's hard to say. Maybe they should just call it the Gates of the Ancients.
maybe they should have called it Defense of the Ancients.
Maybe they should have called it Drakengard. Ancient Gate Lords.
They should have called it Drake and Josh of the Ancients.
Yeah. Anyway, I know usually the person who picks the game does the rundown on all the deets, but I just took the liberty of doing all that stuff. If it's okay with you, Whitney.
Oh, thank goodness.
I figured you probably wouldn't
She's
want to
over
visit,
here
so-
with the owner's manual out.
Oh yeah, she's got the
Did bring
manual.
the
We can maybe talk about that
manual.
later. That looks pretty cool. I'm actually impressed that came with the manual. That doesn't happen that often.
It's got a
That's why it was $8.
it's got
Maybe
a
more.
textured edge to make it kind of look like an ancient tome.
yeah,
I
totally.
think the previous owner of the game did it. Aiden thinks it came that way.
Yeah, I think it's factory made.
Huh. That is interesting.
It's so
It's kind of
frayed.
got those
Kinda
like frayed edges.
Yeah, it's frayed. That might be intentional. It's hard to say.
It's like not intentional enough looking.
It is.
Looks like it could have been an inside hack job.
Some super fan of Drakan Ancient
Yeah.
Gates.
Some super fan.
He's like, this looks too fresh. We need to make it look old.
Right. Okay. Anyway, Drakan the Ancient Gates. I'm just going to call it Drakan now because I don't want to keep saying that.
Drakan.
It's an action-adventure role-playing game released for the PlayStation 2 in 2002. So 2002 is still, relatively early in
Yeah.
the PlayStation 2's life cycle.
1 year
but
after the GameCube came out.
That's
There you
the
go.
year I had those pants.
That's where you had those pants? Whoa.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I miss those pants.
I miss them too.
Those pants miss you too.
It's a
Wish I
sequel.
would have gotten more.
Yeah, it
pictures
is
of those pants.
it's a sequel to a 1999 game for the PC called Drakan Order of the Flame. And this game was developed by Surreal Software. Anyone heard of them?
No.
Yeah, they made a game that Aiden would pick for this show.
Is it anime?
No.
Oh, almost. They made no. They made a Lord of the Rings game. Lord
okay.
of the Rings: Fellowship of the Ring,
Yeah, that's white people
which
anime.
is yeah, very pretty. I've played that game. It's kind of similar to this game in terms of like the gameplay. It's just kind of like an action adventure game with role playing elements.
They also made The Suffering.
Yeah, The Suffering. You play that?
Here,
no,
Aiden,
I know the Coheed and Cambria song.
Aiden, but you may recognize the cover. It's an iconic cover. I feel like I remember this cover from my
it's
days.
I played that
The
game.
man getting electric chaired. No, I don't
Yeah.
recognize
The
this.
Suffering was
I didn't have a GameCube.
I think it was on.
It
other
was
stuff.
an Xbox, PlayStation, PC game.
Oh, okay.
It was like an
No, I
action.
don't know
It's
it.
an action horror game where you're in a prison and you just I don't know, like demons or zombies or something take over the prison and you're just killing them all. It's pretty good. It's an okay game. I think people definitely liked that game. And then they also made Drakan. So that's all they made. They had another game in development called
This is Vegas.
This is Vegas that got canceled. So
Ooh, that sounds good.
They were a subsidiary of
Vegas.
of Warner Brothers Entertainment.
yeah. So
But-
they made a couple things, but not nothing too crazy.
They didn't set the world on fire.
I'd be interested to know what the developers of this game are doing now. Like Alan Patmore, who he was the director on all of these games,
Mhm.
but he doesn't have his own Wikipedia page. I'd be curious if he's still making games.
I bet you he's not. I bet you he works as an IT security officer.
Maybe.
Hey, sometimes you just got to make a living.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just kind of a third person action adventure game, fantasy setting, high
Yep.
fantasy. It's got dragons.
It's got dragons
obviously.
and busty women.
Yeah, main
My
character is
two
pretty
favorite things.
busty.
Is it?
But pretty much every single female you meet is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
She was
pretty-
one of the lesser busties.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found.
You think so? Yeah, you're probably right.
What was the name of the Jade Sorceress?
It
who
was
you met?
Sorceress. Let me get out the manual. It was Sorceress Jade.
She was well endowed.
Her shoulders were twice the size of her hips. And
They
it
had
shows-
to
That's
support.
normal.
They had to
That's
support
pretty
the
normal.
milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody want to take a crack at the story
I'd
of
love
Drakan?
to, unless Whitney wants to.
Whitney? Aiden?
I ain't got nothing. I don't know what's
right.
going on in this game.
I have a one sentence.
Okay, what's your one sentence overview?
Olive, the main character's name is Rin, the warrior, and
Okay.
all of her friends are dead
Okay.
in the opening scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she's married to the dragon.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Ye-
It's a donkey dragon
You're
situation.
not too far
I
from
found
that.
that this game was very Shrek-esque.
Yeah. So, yeah, all her friends are dead, and then the dragon's like, "You got to go to the last remaining city. I got to go there too, but we're
Right.
You're gonna walk."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
she had to
like-
bury her friends. But then I thought it'd be like, oh, I'm gonna have to travel, or that'll be gameplay. But then it's like, nope, now you're there.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, what was the point of like us really? Like,
I want to try to find. We'll go over this later. I'm trying to find this cutscene where the dragon talks because it's really funny.
yeah,
I have
this
it- I have
game's
it right
rated
here.
M. I just
Yeah.
seen that.
Yeah,
on
this
the
game's got
box.
blood in it. It's got lots of blood.
Rated M for
Yeah.
mature, for violence, blood, and gore.
And then you go to the last town, and then they're like, you got to do this other stuff, and then
Yep.
this other guy's like, you got to do this stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of towns.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of towns.
You said you're looking up a clip of the dragon's voice.
Yeah, we'll go over that later.
We'll get over that.
Why don't we
Yeah.
just do it?
That's when we're talking about the good in the voice acting. Like I would say, like to like give a picture for people at home, it's kind of a very much like fantasy pulp novel kind of story where it's like like a lot of things are prefaced in the beginning with like the lore of the land, which is like in the olden days there were like these dragon knights, and like the dragon and the person would be like bonded. Like in like kind of like you call it marriage, but it's like there's some sort of like tangible bond between the two.
Yeah, lightning.
Yeah, lightning. And so in the olden days they were knights together, and then like this evil people rose up and like were sabotaged the knights from within, and then there were no knights for a long time, and then you're like the first knight back after like thousands of years without dragon knights running around. Dragon knights is not the term used in the game, but it doesn't really matter. And so this picks up, I think, where the last game left off. They give you a pretty lengthy like plot summary of the last game.
Mm-hmm. With like an old man reading it to you.
Yeah.
I also found that part Shrek-esque.
I kind of liked that for some reason. I don't know why.
I liked it. I know. I
It
like.
like drew me in, and I have no idea why I was drawn in by it.
It's exactly the way if you're starting like a second book or something in like some sort of fantasy. Like it really reminds me because my dad reads a lot of these like fantasy pulp novels. Like not something that you'd necessarily like find in like an English literature course, but just like lots of fantasy novels that come out every year. And I read a lot of those when I was a kid. And like they always have like their own weird like this is the mythos of this like world that you're entering. And I thought that it was a good introduction. Like this is the mythos of the world. Like you've got dragons, you got people. They used to be gone, now they're back. Like let's go, right? And that draws. I think that's good. Like Lord of the Rings even does that.
So would
right?
you say the story of the game was in the good category, something you liked about it?
I don't know if I like the story. I just liked the setup.
Okay.
Kind of like how they decided to start the game, because I felt like high fantasy, like Lord of the Rings intro or something like that, or Dark Souls intro. Like,
Yeah.
in the ancient times, there was a man who knew the road. And
Legend was it written on the stone?
and for some reason, that worked for me. I don't know why. And then you get in, and
All right. Well, do the folks out there listening need to know anything else about Drakan, the Ancient's Gates, before we take the deep dive on how we feel about it?
I would just say gameplay. If you just want to imagine it in your head at home, whatever we're talking about, put yourself in the shoes of like you've seen or played World of Warcraft. It's very similar in terms of the aesthetic and the way that you move around the world and the way everything looks is very similar to the original WoW. And so if you can picture that in your mind, you've got your picture of what this game generally looks like while we're talking about it.
There you go.
and the gameplay is a bit more like hack and slashy and active than WoW, but like
Kind of remind me of Tomb Raider, actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tomb Raider.
Tom
Tomb
Right
Raider.
on, right on down to the knockers on that character. So,
Bazoom.
yeah, women in video games. It's a whole
Especially
can
video
of
games.
worms.
in
I will say-
2002.
Yeah.
I will say, in this game, even though all the women are like objects, basically,
Yeah.
like in how they're portrayed, they are the ones kind of like spurring the story along and
There
are
you
the
go.
main characters.
There you go.
Men
Which
are
is-
the supporting cast.
Yeah, which is pretty interesting. Like you're walking around town, and this guy's like, one of the earliest side quests you get is this guy being like, "There's big spiders in my cellar," and you, a female protagonist, have to go kill them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Save the world. Women rule
Woman.
the world.
Save the world,
Girls run
woman.
the world.
Yeah. Okay. Did you guys like anything about? Okay, here's the question. Let's get down to brass tacks here. Do you guys like anything about Drakan, the Ancient's Gates?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did
Okay.
You, okay.
Now that's
all
the
right.
next question.
All right. Did you? Did you guys not like anything about it?
Yeah.
No, just-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
All right.
there you go. That's the episode. No. Okay. What do we like about it here? What are we thinking? What's good about this game?
I think the combat's pretty fun.
Really? Okay.
I think I like how the character controls.
Okay.
You're kind of quick.
You have a good momentum to you.
Yeah.
And I think I don't know if I go so far to say I like the combat. It didn't. It definitely worked, and I didn't. I won't say I disliked it. Do you feel like okay? What do you like about it? Like, did you feel that the special move because you have like special moves kind of right with the D-pad
Yeah.
where you can like hit a direction and the attack button at the same time, and you do like different types of attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel like that was actually like meaningful or?
No,
Okay.
I mostly just like running around and rolling around the enemies and stuff like
Okay.
that.
Okay, that's cool. I appreciate that there's a lock on,
Yeah.
so you can lock on enemies.
And there's
Yeah.
also that's the way they show you the health bar too.
oh yeah, right.
Like it goes from, I think it starts at yellow and then like goes to orange and then red.
and then they're dead.
It
I
does
did
have
not know this.
it does have a timed parry system,
Yep.
so you can press the O button on your PlayStation controller
circle.
to circle button.
I will say it was kind of funny going from Sekiro, which is a game that was just released like a
Right.
week or two ago, which has like an extensive parry system, to this, which has a parry system.
Which has a
and, like-
parry system that is on the exact same level. of,
Yeah. Yeah.
I wrote down.
20 years before.
Yeah, I wrote down here. It has timed parries like Sekiro.
But it was just funny because like I'm playing a game that's really parry heavy, and then like I go to this game, and so it was very natural for me to be like wanting to parry moves.
Yeah.
Contextually.
But it's definitely nice that they even had that in there. Like you can press a button to do like timed blocks of the enemy's attacks.
I wish there was more of like a shield function, but I don't mind the parry as much.
Yeah, it felt like the combat had some depth, but you didn't really need to engage with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like the combat, Whitney? You thought it was. I remember you telling me that you were like having kind of a hard time with it at first.
No.
Oh, okay. You just killing everyone left and right.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
She's a pro at this game.
I'm a pro gamer.
Pro Drakan player.
Pro Drakan.
Draken.
She's a speedrunner. I liked in this game the level design.
Okay.
Like going down into the Smuckmire,
The swamp
Shadowmire?
area.
the swamp area, Shadowmire.
I got the manual.
Yeah, the Shadowmire. I thought like it was just like this chaotic swamp, and like it really struck me as being like a lot more advanced than I would expect from a game from 2002. And I'm thinking about like other action RPGs that we played and other action games we played, like something like Piano 3 or Eternal Darkness or Mystic Heroes, God forbid. All a similar.
What was that one we just played?
Evergrace.
Evergrace.
Yeah. Compared to all those games, these levels felt a lot more real and lived in for these weird swamp creatures, and it felt like you are making decisions while like traversing the environment. And so I thought that was neat, and I liked that quite a bit. Like I just remember like thinking while playing the game, like, darn, the level design is good. Like, and I don't normally think that when I'm playing a game.
Yeah.
I kind of just liked walking around the environments too.
Mm-hmm.
They look like WoW a bit. They do, and for some reason I like that like soft polygon something, like just very basic looking environment.
Yeah.
It didn't look like good. Like it didn't
Right,
have a
yeah.
good art direction or
Yeah.
anything like that. But it was just like, this is pleasant. I'm running around. My character has a nice animation with her sword out.
Everything makes sense, right?
got
Like
long
like
legs.
the graphics and the art
Yeah.
style don't detract from the experience.
Yeah, it's not like muddy or anything. Like everything is clear,
Mm-hmm.
and like you get to the city, and it's like, yeah, this looks like a fantasy city.
Yeah. Compared
like-
to like Firestarter, where like it was really hard to see anything. Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's compare this game to Firestarter for sure. They're just going off of the level design thing. I like that the areas were like pretty big and open, and you kind of get like a lot of side quests that you can just kind of do in whatever order you want. And you just like kind of go out and find stuff. And the side quests are like really like rudimentary for the most part. But for like a PS2 game from 2002, that was like pretty. That was like a decent sized area with a lot of side quests.
Oh, yeah.
That first area, with like no loading screens really. Sometimes when you go in a building, there'd be a loading screen, but
The first load is pretty long though.
it's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
long.
I mean they all are. You ever play Grand Theft Auto 3?
Well, that's the same thing. It's
Like,
like it's
yeah.
loading the whole world, and
Yeah.
like that's what it seems like this game is doing.
Yeah. This is how long the loading screens are. When you first start up the game, there is a prompt saying you need this much memory in your memory card because it's acting as RAM, like random access memory, because it's going to load the whole world and store it on your memory card while you're playing. And so you always need to have that much. Like, that's how intensive this game is. Like, you need to use your memory card just to run the game, not to save your file.
Right.
But I mean, I think it works. Like, definitely.
Yeah, totally.
Big, vast expanses of space, fantasy space to explore and
Yes, and
roll
conquer.
around and conquer.
Swamp.
Yeah, you could even
Swampland.
you could argue just a little bit that like there's like a tinge of something like Breath of the Wild in this.
Yeah, sure.
I guess in
The scale, like it's just
Yeah, in
really
the
big.
scale, yeah.
Like I'm not saying it matches anything else, but just in terms of like the way that the world you're in the world.
yeah,
it's
you
like,
you kind of feel dwarfed by the things around you.
yeah, like and it's cool because like you can see like a castle off in the distance and you can go to it, which is like what that was like a big selling point for games in 2018
Right.
is that you can see something and go to it, and this game's got it in 2002. Like,
There you go. And it's not really like super directed. Like, I think I was kind of like saying that already, but you get in there and you can just kind of like you can go to the castle to like complete your main quest right away, or you can just not do that and just run around.
yeah,
which
classic
is cool.
Dungeons and Dragons esque like starting where it's just like you're here, there's lots of stuff to do, go do whatever. Like really inspired by those kind of tabletop role playing games.
Yeah, true.
I
Yeah.
went to the pub.
Went to the pub. Did you get that pub was kind of dismal. It's
Yeah.
a dismal pub.
Yeah, I was looking for the Sorceress Jade. Got lost.
You got lost in the pub.
I
You get
got,
lost in the sauce.
yeah,
Would you say that? Yeah,
the sauce.
you can talk to a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool.
yeah.
They
And
have
they're voice acted.
They have voices.
and they have decent facial animation.
Yeah, not the worst. And
Yeah, those faces are not so bad.
And I also liked like one of the first enemies you fight are these frickin' goblin things in kilts.
Oh yeah,
And I loved how those things looked. Like they talked
Yeah.
like a little paper doll or something. Their bottom jaw like flapped open and closed.
yeah. They looked
They
cool.
were very flappy.
But
Flappy
beyond,
boys.
beyond them, I wasn't crazy about most of the enemy design.
yeah.
Okay, but riddle me
Yeah.
this.
Okay.
The Desert Lord
Yes.
that they show is like
The coolest enemy ever.
they show him right away, and you don't like fight him or anything, but he has nipple rings.
Yeah, but you know how his head was like that?
Yeah.
There was a skin for Lich in Dota 2 in the
Okay.
Winter Frostivus pack,
Oh, okay.
and he looked exactly like that Desert Lord.
Yeah. So the way the Desert Lord looks, it's like he's got this muscular build or whatever, kind of like I think he's got claws for hands, like kind of lizardy. But then the head was like four faces,
Yeah.
like and it's like floating where the head should be, and then it was spinning around and like to show like a skeleton and then like a angry face. And I thought that was just sick. Like that was cool. Like I was
Yeah.
like, damn, I want to fight
is
that
cool.
thing.
He kind of reminded me of that guy in Soul Calibur 2 that I can't remember his name.
Yoshimitsu.
Yeah,
Oh.
Yoshimitsu.
I was gonna say Valdo, which I don't think
Not
is.
Valdo.
Valdo, best character.
His
He's
hips.
crawling around on all fours, like a crab, doing the crab walk.
Valdo's scary.
Yeah, Valdo freaks me out.
He's ageless and sexless.
I mean, that's cool, I guess.
He's
but-
sexful.
Oh yeah, sexy.
No.
With two eyes.
I don't know what else.
Sexy.
Whitney, was there anything that stood out
Sexy.
to you that you liked about Drakan?
Draken.
Yeah, that you liked about Drakan.
I liked the busty ladies. And
Okay.
I liked the voice of Aerok.
Okay, so speaking of voices, yeah, we need to let's just
My voice.
It was
Dra-
unexpected.
the
Guys,
dragon's voice.
guys.
What? Okay, cool.
Yeah?
See the spinning head?
Aiden, you can upload that to our Facebook page later. All right,
That's the very rare skin.
give it to us, John.
Here's the voice of the dragon. I don't think you guys will even be able to hear it.
Well, we can
but
listen to the laptop.
the
speakers.
laptop, it'll come through the laptop speakers. So.
I've been up and down the valley, but I can find no one. We're alone here.
It's kind of
Even
wet
the warthogs have moved
but
on.
and gravelly.
Some of the villagers could still be in
He has a
hiding.
sultry voice.
That's Ray's voice.
They're gone. The Wartalks did their work all too well.
It's definitely pitched down.
Oh, yeah.
Post processing
Yeah.
wise.
Then it's over, isn't it? They're really gone.
Isn't
Everyone I knew.
It's time we left this place. Nothing but ghosts remain here now.
So that's the voice acting.
I also like Rin.
Yeah. I would say, like,
Yeah,
She's cool.
she's all right.
I think she's all right.
she gets
Yeah.
the job done.
she's cool.
Yeah.
She's
I-
got a laced
The
corset.
whole,
Bodice?
the whole front is
Bodice,
laced, which
yeah,
isn't that
bodice.
like that's like the opposite. The back should be laced, right?
Not in this game.
Not,
this
yeah,
is
not
the
in this game.
Depends on what kind of look
not
you're
at the
going for.
fashion report.
Yeah,
I think the character design's kind of ridiculous, but
Yeah.
as just a character, she's like pretty
yeah,
okay. Like
strong-willed woman.
Yeah.
Out, kind of has a strong sense of right and wrong.
Fiery redhead with the sleek ponytail.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I will say
the sleekest
that
of ponytails.
I think yes, if we compare the voice acting to like 2019 standards, I think we'd say that it's pretty dry delivery, right?
they got that pitch shifted dragon.
Oh,
You can't deny that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think like for its time, like this game, like the fact that like every character is voice acted is actually surprised me because like a lot of these games will have like voice acted cutscenes and then you'll get in and it'll just be like text bubbles. Like I think what was the name of that? Evergrace was like that, right?
Yeah.
And so
It's also a Japanese thing though. But
yeah,
yeah, it is like to have every character speak a line to you is pretty crazy.
all their lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I think so that was cool. I appreciate.
I
that.
will say, I played modern game Destiny 2, and one of the first main characters you meet is voice acted worse than any character I interacted with in this game. So
There you go.
There you go.
That's
you
the
heard it here
tea.
first. You play Drakan, don't play Destiny. If You
Yep.
got to play a game that starts with D.
yep,
You know which one to go
Drakan.
for.
Destiny 2 or Drakan 2.
Sometimes when a game is like trying really hard to have good voice acting, it comes off worse than games that actually have bad voice acting.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Some
Hot
games
take.
nail it, but it's not
Yeah.
easy. Voice acting is like tricky to get right because of the nature of it, right? It's easier to I think voice act for other mediums, but for video games because like
I think it's just like a matter of the talent that's out there that like wants to do video games.
it can be nice sometimes when you play a game like Sekiro where the voice acting's all in Japanese, so you don't even know if it's good or bad, but you appreciate that there is voice acting.
Yeah. I don't know what else. Did anyone get to? I probably didn't play quite enough because I didn't get to this aspect of the game. But there's like dragon stuff where you actually fly the dragon.
I really wanted
Did
to
anyone
get to that
actually
part.
get to that?
They should have started with that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think I rode the dragon for a short period, but there was no like combat or anything.
Okay.
Still cool.
Just used it to get around. But yeah, that's what dragon games always do. They're always
Well-
like, you don't get to play the dragon.
If you look at the
Yeah.
back cover here, there's clearly a screenshot where you are playing as the dragon and you're in combat with another dragon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, they bury the lead in all these stupid games.
yeah,
Yeah.
for
all
real.
these dragon games we keep playing.
I
But
watched-
also maybe that part of the game is worse than this other stuff.
Mhm.
You never
Yeah.
know.
I
So-
think the meat and potatoes of the game is supposed to be the dungeon crawling kind of classic RPG stuff.
Right.
And then I think that the dragon stuff is kind of tacked on. It makes more sense when you consider that this game came from a PC thing because like it's a lot easier generally speaking to have like air controls for a PC game than it is for a console game. So it's possible that they wanted to reduce it because they're like, we can't get this right. And I mean, like, look at it, vehicle control and frickin' what's the name of that other dragon game we played?
Rain of Fire.
Rain of Fire. Like, it's terrible,
Good
right?
game.
Like, it's difficult to get that stuff right.
Wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Are dragons real?
Yeah, I have
There's
a one.
Komodo dragons.
Bearded dragon. I
No,
own
like, because they were in all those pictures from the medieval ages. You're saying they just made all those up?
Yes.
Dragons
Why?
are real.
Why?
one. I don't know.
Why
What'd
did-
they make up dragons for?
Why do
Nothing
we
better
make
to
up
do.
superheroes?
What about
Dragons
the
are better
China
than
China
superheroes.
dragons?
What about China dragons?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, it's like I think, like if you think about the ocean as well, like there's lots of myths about things that live in the ocean that ultimately don't, like krakens and stuff. And I think it's it's cultural, like
But people were murdered by dragons.
People
No.
coexisted with dinosaurs, and the world's only 4,000 years old, so I'm sure there were dragons too.
See?
Anyway, is there anything else really important? Anyone? We're kind, time.
Yeah, what didn't we
But
like? What didn't
was
we
there?
like?
I think we should move
Well,
on to stuff we
yeah,
didn't like.
if
Music didn't. Who cares?
Yeah,
Yep,
those-
The music
was
was
bland.
unnoticeable.
So bland.
Yeah.
Just don't even play it.
I'm not going to play it.
I mean, in the game, don't even play it in the
Whitney,
game.
what
But yeah,
don't
don't play
you
it
like
now
about
either.
this game?
I didn't like a lot of things, but I'm not that good at playing video games.
So
So
it was
I
hard.
found things very frustrating.
Okay.
Like, I thought that like if you like, you had to like completely align with like a ladder to climb it,
Oh,
or
yeah.
like to get like a gold, you had to step right onto it, or talk to anyone, you had to be right in front of them.
Yeah, the pickups were pretty finicky.
I
Actually,
think that's a good thing to point out. Like, I didn't actually think the movement controls were that good
They were terrible.
in this game.
Yeah.
You don't have to dance around it.
That's the
but
thing.
you ran so nimbly.
You could
Well, like,
run
the s-
nimbly.
the
the
speed-
animation was fine.
Yeah,
the
animation.
speed and like the movement of the turning was good, and like
Mhm.
it was like pretty snappy kind of, but it was like Tomb Raider movement almost, like where you're turning with the left stick, which you never want that. You always want it to be right stick turns, left stick is
Well,
strafing or
yeah,
whatever.
it's like kind of tank controls.
So
Yeah.
it was a little tanky, and
Right
when
con-
you move backwards, you're actually like stepping backwards.
and you're really slow. Like you can't like back up to like dodge enemy
Yeah.
attacks or anything. You will always
so
get hit.
if you want to like turn around, you have to like actually like move the stick all the way around instead
The
of
camera
just,
is like the camera
Yeah,
is like
camera's
weirdly functioning. Like it's like a literal. It's kind of like if Super Mario 64, which doesn't have a great camera, but for the most part, you don't have to do anything with the camera for that game to work. In this game, when you turn the camera, all the controls get messed up. Like you can't move or do anything when the camera's turned, and the camera is like on a pivot point, like 2 yards behind you, and then like maybe a yard up in the air. And so when you like move the camera, like it doesn't correspond to like what your character is doing at all. So like there's at least in my opinion, there's no way to control the camera and your character at the same time. And that's
yeah,
annoying.
I agree. The aspects of the controls not great. I'm gonna give it a not great for the controls.
Clunky.
I
Little
have
clunky.
I have another thing I'd like to say that I
Okay,
didn't
good.
like.
What's
okay. I didn't like when you're trying to like access your potion or whatever in your little catalog or whatever.
Your inventory.
My inventory.
Yeah, there you go. It's
I
bad.
didn't.
You
It's
have to, like,
bad.
you have to like
If you're
switch off
getting-
your weapon to use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it doesn't pause. So
Yeah.
like, if you're
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to like save yourself from an enemy, you just die because you can't get your health potion.
Yeah.
I agree that I didn't really
Harsh.
like the inventory system or the like quick equip.
The the save function is also kind of busted. Like you could like do a lot of stuff, but if you didn't save and then you die, like me, I was at full health. I fell down a pit, and it was like, okay, now redo the last 30 minutes. And I was
30
like,
minutes of
Yeah.
progress
and I was
loss.
like, I'm not going to redo the last 30 minutes. I'm done
I
playing.
know my skill level, so I saved every time I defeated an enemy.
There you go.
That's pretty smart.
I feel
Uh,
like that was actually like when I think back, I have like memories of having that problem with a lot of games, like where there are just like no checkpoints and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and then you just like lose like 30 minutes of progress, and you're like, well, I'm just gonna turn the game off. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's such a buzzkill.
but you can save whenever in this game.
Yeah,
so.
you can.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like in the general scheme, yeah, that's.
yeah.
I'm remembering that's a big problem with old.
I didn't
games.
realize that, but I didn't. It was my first death. It was like an hour
Right.
and a half into the game, so I didn't realize that like
Yeah, that's a bummer.
That
that
there
like
were no checkpoints.
Yeah, there wasn't checkpoints because I just didn't have to deal with dying.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say the combat in this game, I personally just didn't like it very much because it felt like the movement wasn't terrible when you weren't in combat, but when I was in combat, it felt like I had no flexibility. Like especially like 1v1 an enemy, like I can just parry their attacks and attack back, or just shoot them with my bow from afar. But the second two enemies got added in the equation, it's like there was not really much of an ability for me to like dodge one's attacks. It just felt like it got really hard. Like the difficulty scaled extremely high once like there were two enemies fighting me at once, because like you have no mobility and it's very difficult. You can't parry two enemies at once while attacking them.
You got that dodge roll.
Is it a dodge roll? I tried to use it in fights a couple times, and I just felt like I was like repositioning, and then I just get hit like right after I used it.
Yeah, I think the lock on helps a lot, but it was definitely easy to get like super overwhelmed just with like 2 or 3 enemies.
Yeah, there were definitely times where I was like against a wall and
Yeah.
like just getting punched.
Just getting knocked around. And
Yeah.
sometimes like the hit detection on the enemies felt really weird. Like when I was in one of those caves with these weird like they weren't spiders, they were like some kind of freaky like monster, four-legged monster
Yeah,
thing.
with the weird
And like
arms.
sometimes they'd be like right up next to me hitting me, and it like wasn't registering. And then other times they'd just like destroy me immediately. Like,
Yeah,
it would seem
that happened
weird.
to me too.
There
like
was-
hip stun or whatever wasn't.
Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
sorry. There was a time when I like climbed a ladder and the enemy was not attacking me. It was like those big like lizard frog guys with big yellow fingers.
Oh yeah.
And just walking into the enemy killed me immediately.
Oh.
There was no swipe or anything.
Yeah,
I
not a
just-
lot of bug testing. It seems.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it was painful.
That's no good.
It hurt.
Which is particularly bad if we think about the bugs right now, and like we're talking about like the first area or two of the game. This is
Yeah.
a pretty long game. Like they probably
Yeah.
get worse the further along the game you get. And so combat didn't really do much for me. Like it's definitely not combat I would want to return to.
I liked the
intentionally.
animations.
The animations were.
There's some good
decent.
I
animations
liked
for
that
sure.
your attacks, like you had like stabs and you had other stuff, and they felt pretty good when you landed them.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
it's not like great or anything like that. Like it doesn't feel weighty.
Mhm.
It just is kind of like it looks pretty good when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I wouldn't say I disliked the combat. It was just like it was a pretty generic system, but I do think it mostly worked okay.
Ooh, I want to say one thing I liked about the game.
Okay.
Ooh.
what's
Sorry,
that?
I forgot. I just liked like the RPG mechanics. I thought they were just well thought out. Like you go to the blacksmith, you can see like you can see like all the swords and stuff that
and
you
like
can get.
3D models of the swords.
Yeah, they're nice,
Yeah.
when
nice
you're
models.
browsing.
Nice
yeah.
weapon models.
Yeah.
What about
I just thought that
potion
like
seller?
it felt like you were actually
Potion seller.
developing like an RPG character in this action game. When there are action RPGs out there where it feels like your decisions don't matter.
I want to know if you buy that armor from the blacksmith, if it actually shows it on your character when you put it on.
I think so. I mean, there's pictures of her
Okay.
wearing different outfits.
Well, that's
Oh,
good.
nice.
That's a huge plus for me.
That's a huge plus.
That's
for
like my
John.
favorite thing when you can wear different clothes. It's the best
hot.
Um,
Love wearing different clothes.
something that's really dumb about this game is that the bow. This is like I don't. It's not a hard complaint. Like it doesn't like drop stars for me or anything. But it's pretty stupid that like
thing. We're not
you're-
dropping stars.
No,
here.
it stars dropped.
It's pretty dumb that you have a bow that has like 200 arrows, and then like you use the arrows, and you pick up another bow, and you think you only have the same arrows, but the new bow has like 200 arrows
Yeah.
again. It's
It's
like,
like attached to the weapon.
yeah, it's there's no ammunition system, which is just really bizarre. Like I can't imagine that's like a really difficult coding task to like include ammunition for the bows.
Can someone
Yeah, it's weird.
explain to me how the bow worked? Because I could not aim for the life of
it was
me.
You have
weird.
to
You
use
could go
the
into-
lock on, don't you?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can use the lock on, which is R2, or you could go press the square button, I think,
Circle buttons.
circle button
To,
to
like,
go into
zoom
first
in.
person mode, and then you could shoot. But the sensitivity was so high, it was like impossible
Yeah,
to like
the
aim.
aiming was bad.
Man, I wish I knew about the lock on.
Yeah, the lock on
Lock-on
made
was
it a
good.
lot easier.
Yeah, especially because a lot of enemies can be killed with the bow before they get to you.
Yeah, like in that spider cellar, that's what I wound up using most of the time because you get to a room with like 3 spiders in it,
Yeah.
and then you just kite them down the stairs.
I actually sold my bow right away to buy a better sword, and I think that was probably not a good idea.
That's that. Yeah, that's no
That's
good.
really funny.
I just feel better because I defeated all those spiders with my little dagger.
yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, that's
But
pretty
you could
good.
sell that bow for like over
Put
200
that
gold.
in your
Here's
pants
a
and
mild
smoke it.
dumb thing just
Maybe I
about
will.
the inventory management. When you go into the Shadowmire, like in the first 2 side rooms, there's a bow and there's the cheapest sword from the shop you can find.
Oh, okay.
Like and it's just kind of like I was like, I guess I'll buy this sword, and then it's like, oh, there it is.
I feel like I'm at a place with all video games where I don't trust any vendors because like you go and you buy something from a vendor and it sucks like the moment you get into the world you find something better or with magical properties.
Yeah.
So screw those capitalist
Yeah, totally.
pigs.
We need to move on. I need to bring my laptop charger next time because I guess my battery life is not what it used to be. It says I have 18 minutes left.
All right, well, you turn on battery saver mode. You don't have that on.
I'm not going to do that right now.
What about the potion seller?
Oh, yeah, and you sit there with your full brightness on.
Well, I turn my brightness
and you
down.
complain about your battery life.
All right. Anyway, I think we have discussed this game
Thoroughly?
pretty thoroughly.
I just
I
wanted to
think so,
say
too.
that the potion seller
no.
had luscious locks.
Oh no, GameSpot is down for maintenance.
Yeah, she's cool. The potion seller. I liked her.
Was it she?
Wasn't it?
I think the potion seller was no. That was like a weird dude.
Oh
He
yeah.
was a man
One
with, like,
one is final complaint.
big hair horns.
Because we were talking about how
Wait.
big the world is I just say like the world is
Wait.
big, but it feels very empty most
Yeah,
of the time.
I agree.
Yeah.
There's stuff to find, but it's not like Yeah, it's not that.
Kind of like WoW.
It's not that.
It's kind of
dense.
like WoW, but WoW had players running around,
Yeah.
so you never feel like lonely. But in this game, it'd be like, oh, I'm in a field that's just a single texture on the ground, and there's some textures in the distance, and it's like there's nothing here.
I'm walking.
So I did have a review from GameSpot, but GameSpot is down. They're down for maintenance.
Noobs.
In the middle of the afternoon, come on,
I guess.
on a Sunday.
Man.
Let's see if I can find. I know that they gave it a 7.7. I guess it's not really that important that I find another review. I think people generally liked this game.
That's I can see why.
It got on Metacritic. It has a 78%. So,
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
oh, here's the review from RPG Fan.
All right, just scroll down to the last paragraph.
They gave gameplay 88. This is ridiculous. Okay, they have 6 categories, and it's a 100-point scale for each category. So they gave gameplay 88 out of 100, graphics 87 out of 100.
That's like what GameSpot does.
No, GameSpot is just out of 10.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
they
100
do.
points.
They used to do the multiple categories. Like,
Yeah, but still, it wasn't out of 100 points for each category.
but you could do like a 6.7.
What moron gave
All right.
this an 87
which is
for
a
Control?
67.
I'm
Someone
just
in
saying that
2001.
the fact that he has 6 different categories
Yeah.
and a 100-point scale for each one is like
Well,
crazy. But
RPG people like their numbers.
that's true, they do. I'm trying to find the last paragraph here. Ultimately, Drakan the Ancient Skates is a great action RPG. The engrossing storyline, a solid battle system, lush graphics, and excellent sound all work together to make a game that works on nearly every level. If you like Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, you'll want to check out Drakan as well. Let's hope Surreal makes a sequel to this one.
Nope.
They never will.
Spoiler, they didn't.
Draken 2.
They got shut
No,
down.
that
my
would be
guy.
Draken 3. This is Draken 2.
Yeah, I guess this is Drakan 2.
We talked about that multiple times.
It's fine.
All right.
People
All right.
liked Draken. Let's just put it that way. And I thought it was okay. I liked, even though the fantasy setting was kind of generic, I think like Aiden said with the graphics and stuff, the graphics were just made it like kind of a fun, like comforting place to run around in. And the combat was like pretty serviceable. All the side quests and like options, like the fact that you could just go everywhere was cool. So I'd probably give it like a 7.1 out of 10. That's what I'd give it. What do you guys think?
That's pretty nice. Whitney?
Don't feel like you gotta do a 10-point scale just because John does.
10 point is, or 100 point
We do
is superior.
we do the 5 point.
Just do what you want.
Just
You
do
could
what you want.
You could do it an 11 point if you want.
You could do an A, B, C, D, F.
Just do what your heart tells you.
Pick your score.
John's battery's dying.
I thought this game was okay. I didn't think it was that fun. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 maybe.
Okay.
All right, nice.
That's
Maybe.
good. It's a good score.
I liked the Shrek-esque elements. I love Shrek. Shrek forever. Shrek apologist.
All right. You don't need to apologize for liking Shrek.
Not here, at least.
Aiden, what do you think?
I give this game my true evaluation system score is a 4 out of 5.
Ooh.
That's pretty high. Okay. All
I
right.
didn't love the game, but there's just something about the way it kind of moved around, and I liked the giant frickin' trees around me, and I liked all the voice acting. It kind of wrote me in, and the game made me want to play a fantasy game, a
you go.
modern fantasy game, and I was like, huh, because I found a lot of elements of it enjoyable.
Nice.
But if they could, I like all the female characters, but come on.
Yeah, come on.
Come
Bigger
on, just-
jugs next time.
Yeah, bigger jugs. Come on.
I need the jugs.
Yeah. I would say that there is a lot to like about Drakan. I think that it really sets itself up to succeed in a lot of different ways. There's the good voice acting, passable story, interesting characters for the most part, and like the systems of the world and the way the level design, all those things are nice. But it's very hard for me personally to get over the pretty dreadful combat, the unresponsive controls. Like, it's just like there's a lot of things like mentally that I like about this game, but then when I physically sit down to play it, I don't get into it as much as I would like. And so to me, that's good for cool 3 rusty short swords out of 5, which had like
Nice.
spikes shooting out of them, which is kind of weird but I guess that's the rust.
Nice. So there you have it. Drakan, the Ancient Skates. Pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. 4 out of 5 from the rare 4 out of 5 from Aiden.
Yeah, and it's not even like a passionate 4 out of 5. It's just like a, yeah.
All right, I gotcha.
If we had to do game of the year right now, this might be it because we haven't had a good year.
forgot
Well,
about it.
ActRaiser 2, that game was really good.
Evergrace.
I've thought of
I put
something that
Evergrace
I'm
above
very
this.
passionate about.
Yeah, wow, really? I think I gave Evergrace a lower score.
The
than
music in
this.
Evergrace was like so good.
What's
One of
your
the
next up?
enemies' names was Toad Fist.
That's pretty good.
I really connected with that.
Nice.
All right, you guys want to do a couple quick news bites here before my computer dies?
Very quick.
News.
Let's go.
I have a Play magazine here from January 2002, which is when Drakan was released. And this magazine has some news in it. Here's an article. The headline is, "Did you walk the car?" Does anyone want to, hazard a guess as to what this might be about?
The first game in the Rocket League series
Yes. No.
where you play as rocket-powered turbo cars or
Did
something
you
like
walk the car?
This article is about the new
Oh,
car.
there's an ad for Super Smash Brothers Melee. Okay, keep going.
Okay. It's about a new Toyota that is incorporating the technology of Sony's Aibo pet dog. Aibo, A-I-B-O.
that. That sounds cool.
Anyone have one of these pet dogs? I don't really know what it is.
I had Techno.
Oh,
yeah,
I had Techno, yeah.
Okay, well, they're going to put the technology of this Aibo, artificial intelligence dog, into the car, and the vehicle's called the Pod. It observes the user's personality, tastes, and interests, and gradually begins to act accordingly based on the acquired data.
Sounds
The
like
pot-
everything now.
Yeah, and the Pod also compares the user's driving habits and skills to a preset profile of an expert driver, and then displays either praise or admonishment on its monitor. This doesn't sound like something that ever actually came out.
It sounds like this would have died in product
Yeah,
testing.
Concept car.
Yeah, so... And when you leave the car, you can carry around a mini pod, and it'll keep acquiring data. This sounds like a total nightmare. This sounds like something that would have been cool in 2002, and now it would be like people would just be...
It sounds like
terrible.
like a
Yeah,
Disney
relic.
Channel original movie where like the mom is the house, right?
Yeah.
The house. It's like you got the smart house, and the house does everything for you. It's like I've
what
already
it-
made pancakes for breakfast.
What it sounds
I
like
love
to me
Smart House. It's a
is
great
like
film.
what everyone has in their pocket now,
Right.
and everyone's like freaked out about, but they still just are okay with
Just
it
do it
anyway
anyway,
because
yeah.
they have it. So
The pod also comes equipped with a state-of-the-art face recognition system that can detect when a
State-of-the-art.
driver is falling asleep and then warn other nearby motorists.
Wait.
This is
Wait,
I'm
hey,
reading. I'm
hey
reading
guys,
this.
driver's asleep.
Exactly. Well, I'm reading this verbatim. It says, "If you hear the driver is asleep, the driver is asleep. Head for the curb."
Wow,
That's really weird.
I wish this
I don't
was
know.
real.
Wait.
I want a dog car.
Yeah.
I
so
just love
is
the idea
the
that
car
it's confusing of
a
like
dog?
like robot dog
Dog AI.
technology.
Yeah,
that's so
that's
funny.
weird.
Oh my gosh.
Sort like tangentially related gaming news, I guess.
One of the greatest ads for
Tech
all time
news.
is on the right side.
Super
It's
Smash
ad-
Bros.
No, look at the image. It's
trying.
actually it's a cool. Oh, sorry.
It's like Mummy. It's like-
Mario.
I remember that ad from
No,
when I
it's
was
a
a kid.
person in
It's
a full
cool,
body cast.
Yeah, it's a person in a full body cast, like in a cube. It's supposed
okay.
to be for the
All
game.
right, my battery's running low. We got to wrap this up before it dies for
we
realsies.
love you. We love you lots.
So we'll be back next week.
I think it's like Alex pick.
It's my pick.
Something like that.
I haven't
Yeah.
picked a game in a really long time.
Yeah, we'll be back talking about more old video games next Sunday. If you want to stay up to date on what we're doing, follow us at facebook.com/thepixelreport or follow us on Instagram. Just search for The Pixel Report, and we'll be on there. And you can listen to podcasts, archived versions on Spotify or Google Play or your favorite podcasting app. Whitney, thanks for joining us
Yes,
today.
thank you, Whitney.
I'm
Gotta-
It was a
honored
joy.
to
Got to
be
have you back
here.
sometime.